Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the tier 5 Japanese aircraft carrier, the Zuiho, and I played this match on the PTS. However, because patch 0.6.3 went live today, well, this match will also apply to the live servers. I want to show just how ridiculous playing tier 4 and 5 carriers is going to be. And one of the reasons is that, well, both teams in this game have a carrier. We have a Zuiho and a Ryujo. The enemy team has a Zuiho and an Independence. So I launched my torpedo bombers and I started heading towards the enemy team. Because, I want to use them. I spot two cruisers from long range and I'm thinking to fire. However, one of them activates defensive fire, a Cleveland, and I immediately lost my torpedo bomber squadron. Now, nothing is new until this point, because this would have happened to you even before the latest patch. The Cleveland would have just wiped that one squadron easily. Now, the annoying part is, though, that you cannot do manual drops and manual strafes anymore, which on tier 4 and 5 carriers. But you can do it on tier 6 carriers, which means that the Independence on the enemy team can strafe my fighters. I can't strafe his, but he can strafe mine. And the Independence also can manual or can drop on ships like destroyers and cruisers. You see, the problem is that cruisers and destroyers are very, very maneuverable, and you'll see it later when I try to drop on a certain ship in this match. So I head towards those guys, and since I don't have any manual drops, I just try to do an automatic drop on a Minakazu. Obviously it's not going to work, but there really is no better target considering there's a Cleveland over this blob and I can't really do anything about it. I mean, there are no other real targets. Like, what do I go and attack? The New York and the König that are far north? I would have to cross enemy fighters, and I'm not going to be able to do that. So one of the enemy carriers, I think it might be the Zuiho, actually decided to go for me. Which, in retrospect might be a very good idea considering how difficult it is to drop on almost any other ship right now, because you can't drop on destroyers, really. You just saw that. The destroyer just dodges all the torpedoes easily. It's absolutely no problem. You can't drop on cruisers, or, well, light cruisers. You might be able to drop on some heavy cruisers. Light cruisers because they are maneuverable, and the other ones that aren't as maneuverable have ridiculous anti-air like that Cleveland. Now, I'm fighting these Zuiho fighters in my ship's anti-air, and because it's another Zuiho, it's an actually equal fight, and because I have the ship's anti-air, I'm obviously going to win this fight. Now, if this were a fight against the Independences fighters, I would have lost this fight. You see, not only as a Zuiho do you have to deal with the potential of running into tier 6 carriers in your same game that can use manual attacks like strafing, etc. If you run into an air superiority bogue, you will get absolutely destroyed. Now, I'll show you a little clip here, and it is crazy because you can't do anything against bogue fighters as a Zuiho. You have a maximum of one fighter squadron. And I fought bogue fighters over my Zuiho's full anti-air. And I couldn't even shoot down one squadron full of fighters. And he has two of them. And I don't really even have backups to, replace all of that. And in that case, the bogue also can't do manual attacks. But the bogue can click and they will simply win and make you useless. And these are the kinds of things that you have to do. So right now I decided to actually go for the battleships this time. And you can see the Independence, because she is a tier higher and has things like strafes, etc., simply came and intercepted me. Because the planes are faster and he can do that. And I can't really do anything here. I'm gonna bring the other squadron here as well, because I can't obviously drop on the other side. Even a Königsberg is going to be too difficult to actually hit. So I just dealt my first bit of damage. And, I mean, of course I recognize the fact that I'm not playing, like, super well here, but you have to remember that new players have to play these kinds of things as well. like somebody who really hasn't played carriers. Yet they will have to deal with these kinds of Clevelands and independences. Like, oh, by the way, my torpedo bomber squadron was just strafed down by this guy. Because he has strafe, but my planes do not have manual attacks, yet we can fight each other. So I'm down to 3 torpedo bombers left, and I have 2 replacements for my dive bombers. I think I'm gonna lose them here as well, because look, 2 fighter squadrons, there's no way this dive bomber squadron is going to get out alive. Now, on top of it being really, I want to say difficult, but it's not really difficult, because you can't really compensate against this stuff with skill. I think it's, on top of it being just very unlikely that you're gonna do well, you also don't have much to learn or even have fun with, because you can't do anything. It's basically like playing a battleship, like a Bismarck, with secondary upgrades, but you don't have any main guns. You basically click on a target and that's it. That is your entire engagement that you can have in the entire match. It's incredibly boring, because you can't really do much in these kinds of matches. So I want to drop on this Königsberg, but again, I only have automatic drops, so this will be pretty much impossible. So I'll just sit here and wait and do nothing at all, because I can't really do anything else either. But yeah, I would say that the carrier changes in this patch are absolutely nuts. I really cannot imagine somebody wanting to start to play carriers and actually going through this stuff and then thinking, oh well, carriers are really fun to play, I should really try it. I just cannot imagine that. My recommendation is, if you now want to play carriers and you already have not passed tier 4 and 5 carriers, to free experience it. Because this, first of all, it doesn't play like playing carriers, and you are at a massive disadvantage while having to deal with these annoying ships like Clevelands and Independences. Of course, if you get into a tier 5 match, it'll be slightly easier, but you know, it won't be anything like getting into it won't be anything like getting into a tier 7 match as a tier 6 carrier. That's actually not that big of a deal, because ships like the, oh look, my fighter torpedo bomber squadron was caught by the float plane, and now it can't move fast enough to actually catch up to the turning Königsberg. It literally could not catch up with the turning Königsberg. The Königsberg started turning the other way before, you know, the drop locked in. And I'm gonna say this stuff was already in there before this patch. This patch just added more fuel to the fire. So now I've lost all of my torpedo bomber squadrons. I have 1 fighter plane and 2 dive bombers. Basically, it's 9 minutes into the match and I'm out of planes. And this isn't even a full match. Now imagine if they had like multiple Clevelands or other similar things. I can't really do anything about it. And this, I just really don't see why I would want to play carriers at this point. And well, there goes my fighter plane. I imagine it's the Königsberg Zentier, because that was the closest ship. Now, I'm gonna give you a little spoilers, we're gonna win this match. But I have pretty much nothing to do with this. I only have 2 dive bombers left, and I'm just gonna, you know, go fast through this. Because nothing happens anymore. Pretty much the only things that I will be doing at this point is using my ship Zentier, and that's it. And, you know, I've played carriers before. Again, I have some experience with them. And this is my first encounter with, well, it's actually the second one. The second encounter with these changes. And what carrier play is going to be like. Now imagine you are somebody that has never played carriers before, that you're still trying to figure everything out. and you run into an independence. Well, I will say that you're not going to have a lot of fun, or you run into a Cleveland, or, you know, something else that has decent anti-air. Because at tier 5 you don't need to have all that much anti-air DPS to have decent anti-air. By the way, another thing that annoys me with the patches that, obviously the stealth fire changes, I don't like them. Then I also don't like the fact that there are some UI bugs. There is this bug where if you are in artillery view, if you want to go into artillery view, the default keybind is pressing shift, right? The problem is that if you press another button, like let's say you press the A key at the same time as the shift key won't work. You won't go into artillery view. And even if you rebind it to some other button or even the mouse, it will not go into artillery view if you press another button at the same time. And in my opinion, that is a bug, and it should have been reported, probably, you know, much earlier, but for some reason it has not been fixed yet. And that is a pretty big annoyance for me as well, considering the fact that when I actually played PTS, I noticed that I failed to go into artillery view or exit artillery view quite often. Because I would press another button at the same time, because I somehow got used to it. To, you know, give a little bit of movement to my ship. This game was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Yeah. And these are the kinds of games you can get, so I ended up only hitting that one torpedo in the entire game. I did shoot down 21 planes, but most of it is because of my ship's anti-air and because of my ship's positioning and the fact that the enemies just flew their planes over it. The planes themselves did almost nothing at all, because, again, you can't attack destroyers, you can't attack light cruisers, you can't attack ships that with heavy anti-air like a Texas maybe, or a Cleveland. You also can't attack a carrier like Independence, because that will also have decent anti-air plus fighter cover. Ships like the Independence and Zuiho in your games will absolutely ruin you, because they do have strafes and manual attacks. And it doesn't really teach you anything on how to actually play carriers. Carrier play at higher tiers is not going to be like the tier 4 and 5 carrier play. And it's incredibly unfun, because you don't have anything to do. You can only just click on the ship, and that's it. When I first started playing carriers, I actually played, or I started doing manual drops in my second game. I looked up a video by iChase, and then I just practiced it and tried getting better at it, because it'll be too difficult. And now new carrier players will have to learn that at tier 6, where they can get into tier 7 matches easily, against ships like the Gneisenau, or similar, and in that case, good luck. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, then like it, if not, then dislike it, and I'd like to know what you guys think about the carrier changes. Do you think they're good or bad? And I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your support. Stoic Frog Gaming. From what I understand, that's actually a YouTube channel. I'm not quite certain what he does, though.